welcome to my workshop. My name is Adrian, and I am by no means a public speaker, so, bear with me. Maybe I'll get better with time, but I have no idea. But I do love designing stuff. I've been working in the gaming industry as a game developer for probably over 10 years. With this 3D sketch, I'm trying to bring one of my concepts to life because I have so many concepts, probably over 1,000. I was thinking about making a Gumroad page for them so that people can download and try them out. I would be curious to see what anyone would do with those concepts. Right now I'm making the legs, specifically the feet, which is very interesting. I do have to practice that because the feet are, especially in mechs, they can be very interesting to design, and you definitely need practice to get some good forms and shapes and to also look like they can support a metallic weight. So this little design is like a little construction robot that has 4 arms. Maybe he kind of helps the workers with welding and climbing buildings and carrying certain things. He's not like a very, very heavy duty machine, because then the legs would have to be way thicker for that and have really powerful pistons. But the way that I'm thinking about it is I'm just trying to balance it out, balance some round shapes with some harder shapes, and also sort of try to show the inner workings of it, so kind of like the little bits and pieces, the little mechanical bits and pieces, because I absolutely love industrial mech design, and you're probably going to hear a lot about that from me because I do have a beef with mecha in general. I think industrial mechs are way more superior than mecha, and a lot of people don't even know the difference, but we'll get into that a bit more probably in later videos. This program that I'm using is 3D Modeler from Adobe, and it is just absolutely amazing. You can't really do masks, which is why I have to draw these shapes overlapping other shapes, and then I have to use Boolean operations to separate them so that I can use different materials. But it's one of those features that I hope they're gonna add at one point. I'm not sure they will, but I really hope they will. If not, I'm sure there's gonna be programs in the future with VR probably getting more and more popular as technology grows. And I really do think that this is way more fun than designing stuff on tablets, even though I've been working with Wacom Cintiq for over 10 years. And ZBrush, you could probably wake me up at 3 a.m. and I'll start sketching in ZBrush immediately. I just dream about that software, Like, I've used it so much, it's more natural than walking. Alright, so when we're talking about, let's say, balancing out the more shell parts as opposed to the inner parts, the mechanical bits, I'm using these 2 colors for now. I will later on change the darker one because right now it's a little bit too shiny for my taste, so I need to sort of get it a bit closer to the original one. And as you can see, I'm doing this very loosely because this is just a sketch, it's just a block out. And I'm trying to do this more and more because I gotta stretch my design muscles a little bit. Life has been interesting lately and I haven't got to do a lot of this stuff, so try to find an interesting format to do this more and more. Maybe try to be a little bit disciplined because I really need it. I'm doing some pistons here. I absolutely love the contrast between shell pieces, hull pieces, and then mechanical parts and pistons. This would probably be way more emphasized in a more polished stage if I decide to do a polish on this thing, because it does look like something that maybe game developers would be interested in. So maybe I will make it functional for game engines because I work in Unreal. It's primarily my game engine, my preferred game engine. I do have a bunch of stuff on the marketplace that are set up for that, so I'm pretty well versed in making things available for people to actually use. But this workflow is just amazing. Like, I don't know. I personally have a big beef with people that are still using just box modeling for concepting, which is okay, sure. If they're good at doing that, no problem. But I feel like a program like this gives you so much more freedom and plasticity with keeping things dynamic while you're designing things. It's not even funny. There's no competition from my point of view, because you can be so fast and so dynamic, and you can just play around with these shapes and forms, and the limitations are just starting to disappear slowly. Here, for example, I'm making an element. I'm not particularly happy with how this came out, but I wanted to showcase the exact options and symmetry and radial symmetry options that you can do with this, and then you can group this up, and then you can just duplicate it and put it all around, which is actually extremely fun. For example, if you're working with a tablet or with a mouse and keyboard and you're trying to place these things around, everyone knows that you gotta change from rotation tool to movement tool to your scale tool, and then you gotta rotate your viewport a bunch of times just to make sure that you place it where you want to place it. But this is just fun. It's just so natural. It's kind of like just playing with digital clay. I urge everyone to at least try this software, even though I don't particularly agree with Adobe's prices right now. But it's fine. Like, if it were me, I would have them give people a free trial or some form of way to see if they can actually use it before they purchase this program, because it is kind of expensive for the experimental nature that it has, so most people kind of stay away from it. But I feel like it's definitely a good investment. For example, here, what I just did was I used the warp tool, which honestly, when I first used the warp tool in this program, I literally sent them an email telling them that the designer of this tool needs to get a raise ASAP, because it's just revolutionary. There's nothing like it. Like, ZBrush Move tool has nothing on this. Here I'm playing with the length of the feet because I figured about the center of gravity of this particular concept. I know it's a little bit sped up right now because I am trying to keep this short, but the whole process took me around 45 minutes for this entire block out, as you can see here. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and see you soon in the next video.